Hey everyone, Doug the Retirement Guy. We have an update here on the GraniteShares Weekly Dividend ETFs. We review all 6 of them. We've got some real interesting stuff that they've come out with. So let's take a serious look at this. And before we get into the video, I got to shoot out a thank you to all the Patreon supporters. Without you guys, we would not be able to keep the channel growing and doing what we're doing. We also want to thank all the subscribers. We have broke 21,000 subscribers already. Amazing. We thank you for your support, and we appreciate each and every one of you. And if you can at all help support the channel, click down in that description. You'll see a Patreon button. Click on that and join with Patreon. Ton of information behind the scenes. Let's get into today's video. Notice to all viewers, the past performance does not guarantee future results. The information provided in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It should only be considered financial or investment advice. Always ask a financial advisor before making any major investments. Now let's take a look at the growth or value of the funds. Now, one thing always remember that these funds, even though they're yield boosts, which are designed to basically try to get 1.5 to 2 times the daily return on a particular fund, they're not always built for growth. They're really built for income. Now there's a mixture of a little bit here, a little bit there that they try to get. So if we get any growth out of this, which we always say a good 5% is more than sufficient, this is what we're looking for. And right off the bat, you can see the Tesla wins the week by 5.99% growth over last week. Now, granted, they are still down the 30-day and the year-to-date, but I believe right now that the TSYY is on solid ground, starting to make its headway north. And as Tesla does better, they will continue to do better. And you can see with some solid growth this week. You take a look at the second one is the YSPY, the S&P 500 program, and they've actually had a 4% growth over last week. Even though the rest of the funds are all showing still down 2.56 and down 20%, we believe that this one again has found its little niche and it will slowly start to climb back up. The real performer out of the week I have to go with is NVYY, their yield boost NVIDIA. This thing is up 3.98% and year to date is still holding a positive 6%. Now we've heard some news lately with NVIDIA about what's happened with their earnings reports and all that. And people have turned around and said, oh, it's not as good, even though it busted everything that Wall Street was looking for, but people expected more. And they said that this is going to have a drop and a drop off in the program. So we're going to have to keep an eye on NVIDIA, what happens with this fund and so on. But I believe solidly this is still a very, very good fund to be a part of. And then we take a look at XBTY, which is one that we've talked about. The Bitcoin and coin as total packages have had some struggles because they have not had the volatility that we've needed. They have not had the strength that we've needed. And this is going to be happening with Bitcoin and coin combined packages. So you can see both of them respectively are only down about 0.5%. Down for the year, just a little 12 and 18% equally. So very strong still running pieces. Now let's take a look at what the dividends have done and see if that's made good changes. And we get into the fund distributions and we can look at, again, the first 4 are up and the Bitcoin and coin are down. So the rewarding goes to still is COYY. Even though it says it's down, it is only basically down a half of 1 cent. Now, in the big picture, that can make a big difference. In the little stuff, it's hardly a blip on the map. You're still getting your 68.5 cents in dividends. Now we go back to the other ones. NVIDIA paying a solid 50-cent dividend this week, up a little bit from the 49 cents from the previous week. So very solid, very steady pace across the board. And that's what I say, everybody is up, but we're almost literally, we're talking a penny here, penny there. So everyone has been very solid, and that's the nice thing about GraniteShares is they do have a solid dividend payout on a regular basis. We look at the distributions, probably one of the highest total across the board in distributions. The Tesla is up to 140% distribution rate. You take it, NVIDIA is 100% distribution rate, and COYY 180%. And we can't throw out XBTY at 99%. And it's really crazy when I sit here and say the lowest ones that we have are almost 50% distribution rates. So GraniteShares have done very, very well across the board. We take a look at the return of capital. And the Tesla one, prime example, no return of capital. This means this 22 cents was all developed from income. They've done a great week of managing the volatility, managing everything to it, and they've been able to give you 100% of your dividend in cash. Now, does that help you with the tax side of things? Not really, but it's nice to see that you have a 0% every so often coming across the board. Same thing with the YSPY. We look at the coin, and the Bitcoins are about, again, they're following to each other tooth and nail, 23% and 30%. And the two big ones, NVIDIA and TQQY, and that is in the high 90%. Am I concerned with this? Well, we'll see the next screen that gives us the assets under management. But overall, I'm pleased with what I'm seeing. We see no 100%. We see a lot of zeros. So they've done their very, very good job with their dividends. So as we said, let's take a look at the assets under management with this one. And immediately we put the yellow mark on TQQY. Now, the return of capital was 94%. Look at the assets under management. They lost basically about $120,000 was lost in assets under management from last week. That puts us into a warning sign. Is the return of capital actually taking money out of the pocket, and they did not perform as well as they should? This is an area where I will always put a warning sign and say, let's watch this one very, very carefully. This is not a jump out and bail. You do this after a couple times, then possibly we'll have to relook at our strategies. But we look across the board, everyone else has grown their assets under management. And if you take a look at the TSYY, the Tesla package, I am impressed with this one, is look at the growth that they've had. They've added over $11 million in 1 week just in that fund. I believe this is probably one of the safest or strongest Tesla packages that are out there across the board. And when I say that, I know we're going to get a ton of comments about that, but I'm looking at the price point to the dividend to assets, everything tied together. I just think it's a very, very strong package. We go down and look at $10 million gain for NVIDIA, 4 million in the Bitcoin, and just shy of 9 million on the COYY. So overall, assets under management holding very, very well in GraniteShares. The only one is that QQQ package. Return on investment. So we look at the return on investment, and I always got to give you the same speech on return on investment because we get so many comments about this. Why are you even concerned about this? What are you doing with this? And basically what I tell you back is if you buy the stock today, if you've never owned any of these stocks, you buy it today and using today's dividend, this will give you how quickly can you turn around and get all your funds back. So we use COYY for a prime example. At $20.59 and getting a 68-cent dividend each and every week, you only need 30 weeks, which is basically just a hair over half a year, and you would have your entire investment back in your pocket. Now, you still own the shares, you still own COYY, it is still going to be paying a dividend, and you have all your money back out of it. So it becomes a cash cow. And you can do that in a very, very short period of time. And this is how people can build their income equity. They can build their program by not just picking the hot stocks, but picking things that can turn a return on their investment very quickly. So every share you buy within basically 30 weeks, you are back. So you continuously turn around and buy the hot ones, just like right now. Look at Tesla, the TSYY. That one is at 37.8 weeks. So around at the 39 weeks, 3/4 of a year, and you'd have all your investment back right now of that fund. It's a very smart way of investing. This is a different structure and a different plan that you use. You are not worrying about what the value of the fund is doing. What you're looking at is what the dividend is doing. If the dividend continues paying, as we're showing so far that they have had, that you have a constant income strategy, and then you get your money back as quickly as you can. So very strong piece here. We probably will do a bigger and stronger video on that to give you guys some different avenues of how to invest and how to grow your markets. So let's take a look at Doug's fund. How well did we do this week? Now remember what we told you this is we bought these back in June 2nd. I believe the COYY was added shortly after that. But we have basically put $6,000 into GraniteShares in funds. The fund value is up $702 or 11.7%. As I told you earlier in the video, we would love to see a 5% growth in the fund. We're already at 11% across the board with these. Very strong, very quality base stock values. And the biggest growth is right at the top, Tesla. Basically we're up $603. That one fund is carrying a lot of what we're doing. The second one was the YSPY, which is, that's up $374. Now we have some lures. We have the loss of NVIDIA. We have a loss at XBTY, and now COYY has lost a little bit. We're not concerned so much with the loss because we're looking for cash. We're looking for income. And when we take a look at these, look at the income package. And since June 2nd, we are up $1,133 or 18% in distributions. Very, very solid piece. And this is what we're looking for. And it's a well balanced because you look at these numbers at Tesla at 277, you got the Bitcoin XBTY at 244 and NVIDIA at 241. So as we put this all together as a complete package in just a very, very short period of time, we were able to gain $1,835 or 30.6% total value of the fund. So a nice 11% plus an 18%. So it gives us a very, very well balanced approach, very strong return across the board. So we're pleased across the board with this. We're not going to have the huge, outrageous dividends, but we also are going to have some strong fund value. So our top 5 picks, at number 5 is XBTY. Now Bitcoin has been flat, but it's still paying that solid dividend. We've talked about this before. Nice solid dividend, nice payout. This is why we say, hey, let's get involved into this one with no problem. But COYY wins I call it the coin challenge. And that's, again, coin has been flat, but it's paying a solid dividend, and you have that quick return on investment. So that's why I'd say, hey, their number 4 is COYY for the guys who want to do that quick investment, less than a year, get your money back out of it, and just turn it into a cash cow. There's your one you want to be buying. YSPY, again, the S&P is turning around. They are making some big adjustments. They're making some changes into it. It's going to continue to grow. They hit the top end this past week, setting new records. We expect this one to continue the solid growth moving forward. Number 2, TSYY, the Tesla, up that 5.99%. I believe this is on a major turnaround. I believe this is a fund that you want to make sure that you have investments into it. You have a great return on investment number that's under that 1 year. I just think this is one that you could put money into for a Tesla portion of your portfolio and just ride this one out at an $8. It's going to be a huge cash cow. It's going to be a good positive run. You're probably going to see this thing gaining additional positive numbers each and every week. So that's why we put it number 2. But across the board, you cannot beat NVIDIA. why this one wins with that solid 6% growth across the board, the 100% distribution rate. So it's paying a solid, strong dividend at that 40 plus cent per week. So I just can't believe that the NVIDIA is not one to continue to buy, continues add on to it. And if you want to pack in extra, follow the list down below. I think you'll do well. Guys, Doug the Retirement Guy, if you like what we're doing, give us that thumbs up. Make sure you don't miss a single video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not one of the 21,000 that we already have. We'd love to have you part of the family and part of the community. And also, if you have any comments, don't be afraid to put them down below. We listen to them. We'll respond to as many as we possibly can. We're always here to help everybody. Everything helps the channel grow, and we want to help grow your pocketbook. We'll see you next time.